Back to another episode of Bryce's Nicest. It's your boy, as always, your host with the most, Bryce, aka B Dub 2 Nice, and we got a lot to talk about on the eve of March Madness. As those that are watching live, we are hours away from March Madness. Those that are listening, hopefully y'all listening to this before the first tip off at 12. But a lot to get into, man. As always, shout out to Most Publicity Media. That's what this show is brought to you by. And yeah, updates. I ain't even got much updates. Y'all saw me yesterday or hear me out. Just another day. Just really looking forward to the madness that March is about to give us. And the madness has happened. The madness is bound to happen. Um, this is what Christmas Eve feels like as an adult, or as a basketball loving adult, I should say. Because it's like that kind of same feeling, you know, just trying to wonder, hmm, what is gonna come about from this year's tournament, looking back at previous tournaments to prepare, and really just trying to get everybody together. Um, try to get all thoughts together, and really bracing yourself for all the madness that's about to ensue. So without further ado, as always, got some shout outs to start the show. All right. First shout I want to give to my alma mater, the College of Charleston women's basketball team. Round of applause for the Lady Cougars. They pulled off a great season, best season in the program's history, and first time going to the big dance in program history. Um, Shout out to Coach Robin Harmony, I believe that's her name. Double check, stat check. Hold on. Yeah, Robin Harmony. Shout out to Coach Robin Harmony. She has turned the program around since she's been there. I want to say she got there my junior year, and the team has improved year after year. So shouts out there for bringing them to their first ever March Madness tournament. Shout out to Taryn and Taylor Barbeau, the twin duo, who is killing it. Um, this year, Taryn, I believe, is the CAA Player of the Year once again. And yeah, wish the ladies best of luck as they have the first round matchup against the Duke Blue Devils, who, man, um, one of the best teams in the nation, and is a sleeper team to win it all. But I believe in my College Charleston Cougars, and I mean those who know me know I'm a Duke fan through and through, right? Mainly on the men's side, but I got a big respect for Kara Lawson when she's up for that program, and how she's turned that program around, bring that program to prominence as well. Um, I'm hoping for a good game. I'm hoping for a good game. So I believe they have what it takes to stay in it. It's just dang. Just be honest here, man. But no, shout out to the College Charleston women's basketball team for sure, man. Great feat. They got to one up on the men's for once, right? Normally it's the men's that we're talking about going to the tournament, or I'm talking about going to the tournament. But glad to see in my lifetime that my alma mater is represented for the first time ever in the Women's March Madness tournament. Um, Outside of that, shout out to the conference tourney winners. I want to say I went 3 for 5. Predicted Duke, Arkansas, and St. John's winning their conference tournaments. Um, where's the note at? Where's the note at? Where's the note? Purdue wins the Big Ten tournament. Arizona won the Big 12 tournament. So actually, I want to say I went 4 for 5 because I think I had Michigan winning the Big Ten. Yeah. All right. And then last but not least, we got the WNBA for finally getting together. Right. They agreed verbally to a new collective bargaining agreement, which now they can get the ball rolling on the 2026 WNBA season. This will be the 30th WNBA season, so I know there's going to be some. If it's anything like the 25th anniversary, I know some things up their sleeves. I'm glad that they got to a point of where they are fairly compensated and they met a middle ground because hey, basketball fans like me and like you are all wanting to see these skillful, highly skillful, talented women back in action this summer. So shouts out to the W, shouts out to Fee for getting everything together. Right. But tournament time. Let's talk. All right. This tournament, and I feel like we say this about a lot of tournaments. We're going into a lot of tournaments, but it's that time where it's just like, yo, this could be one of those ones. I mean, last year we had 4 number 1 seeds in the final 4, right? Could that happen again this year? It is very likely with the top 4 seeds that we have. We have Duke, top of the East. We have Michigan, Midwest. We have Arizona for the West, and we have Florida for the South. Now we got Florida looking to repeat. We got Duke looking to get their first title under Shire. We got Arizona, who's been a powerhouse throughout the season. We got Michigan, who's been a powerhouse throughout the season. And really, the top of the top in the top 4. The East region, looking into it. Okay. East region stands out to me as the region of, I don't know, like they say the group of death, or like, and they have the groups of, and like an international play, whenever they have like the groups in World Cup or groups in Olympic play or whatever. This East region is the craziest region, in my opinion. You have Duke as number 1 seed, UConn as a 2 seed, you got Michigan State as a 3 seed, Kansas as a 4 seed, St. John's as the 5th seed. So you have John Shire, Dan Hurley, Tommy Izzo, Bill Self, Rick Pitino, all having to get through each other in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we got potential Kansas versus St. John's game in the round of 32. And then we would have a potential Sweet 16 matchup of UConn and Michigan State. A potential Sweet 16 matchup in Duke versus St. John's. Man, oh man, this is the one region of the bracket that I'll be locked in on the most, and mainly because my Duke Blue Devils are on the side of the region, or in this region, but it's a lot of shakeup that could happen. Got some historic coaches in the mix, right? Self, Hurley, Patino, got Shire, who's carving his legacy and cementing himself. Izzo, man, oh man, and they got the talent on all these teams for them to succeed. You know, you got Duke, who's led by Cam Boozer. You got St. John's, who's led by Zuby Ejiofor. You got Kansas, who has one of the best lineups out there, and they have one of the best prospects in there in Peterson. You have Michigan State, who have a 1-2 punch of Cohen Carr and trying to remember what Fear's brother is at Michigan State. Fears and oh Lord, I pressed the wrong thing. Of Cohen Carr and Fears. Jeremy Fears Jr. There we go. You got UConn, who's dogs. You also got Louisville. Let's not sleep on Louisville. Pat Kelsey is a great coach himself. Got Ohio State. You got UCLA, another blue blood in this region. Whoever makes out this region just might win the whole tournament. Because, I mean, depending on who they beat, right? All right, let's fast forward. Let's look ahead to really the Sweet 16 Elite 8 matchups, right? My bracket, I have Duke and St. John's up against UConn and Michigan State. Duke winning, advanced to the Elite Eight. Michigan State advancing to the Elite Eight. Then you got Duke against Michigan State. Man, right? And that's just the East region. But I'll go through my picks region by region. Got Duke moving on, beating Siena. I have Ohio State over TCU. I have St. John's over Northern Iowa. I have Kansas over California Baptist. I got Louisville over South Florida. Yeah, South Florida. I have Michigan State over North Dakota State. UCLA over UCF, and UConn over Furman. Shout out Furman, man. More South Carolina representation. They're in the tournament once again. They're in the tournament a few years ago. They had a buzzer beater, last second shot to upset. Forgot who they upset it, but last second shot to move on to the second round. So shout out Furman. Shout out my guy Jalen Slauson. Shout out SC. All right, moving down. Speaking of South, moving down to the South region, we got Florida, who's the number one overall seed there. I got them advancing against Prairie View. Got more South Carolina representation than Clemson. Clemson against Iowa, but I got Iowa advancing. Vanderbilt versus McNeese. I don't think. Oh, McNeese is back in the tournament. I don't think this is the 5-12 upset that we get, but who knows? But so I got Vanderbilt advancing. Got Nebraska over Troy. I got VCU over North Carolina. That's my first upset that I have. Was this upset fueled by hate? Maybe. Is also fueled by North Carolina being without their star player. Also. But see, that's the thing. That's the beauty of the madness, man. Beauty behind the madness, no weekend, is the upsets are unpredictable, right? Unless you are a diehard fan of the underdog team, you really have to try and pick and choose who is getting upsetted. So, like I mentioned, I picked North Carolina to get upset because of the fact that I'm a Duke fan. And I don't know, just on brand for North Carolina to lose in the first round. Leave it up to them to lose in the first round, right? I'm rooting for their downfall. Don't get me wrong. I'm not supposed to be objective as a journalist, but that's what makes this thing fun. All right. Y'all getting to peek into my bracket, my thought, my philosophy. Where the KRS one. All right. You got Illinois against Penn. I got Illinois advancing. Illinois, one of the best teams in the Big Ten. St. Mary's against Texas A&M. I got Texas A&M advancing. Houston versus Idaho. Houston is a team I think can make it to the Final Four. Frankly, because I don't know, it's kind of I feel like I trust them a little more than I can trust Florida, but Florida's been great once again. All right. Then you have in the West bracket, Arizona against Long Island. Shout out to Lord, I forgot the coach name. Rod Strickland. Shout out to Rod Strickland. Bronx in the house. New York representation there. Big for their program. First time since I want to say first time in a long time they've been to the tournament. But shout out to Rod Strickland for coaching them and bringing them there. Villanova, Utah State. I got Villanova. Wisconsin against High Point. Got Wisconsin. Arkansas against Hawaii. I got Arkansas. I feel like Arkansas can have a deep run in this tournament. We'll get into a little more why later. But I think Arkansas, these are one games scenarios, right? Anything can happen in one game. And I mean, obviously I would think they would not cruise, but yeah, I'll just talk about it when we get to that point. But BYU against Texas, I got BYU. the tournament is really just fueled or can be fueled by one player. One player runs, leading a team down the line, down a tournament, down like lead a team on a run. That's what I like about the NCAA tournament. Is how much gravity a player can have and how that gravity can transfer and really we seen it with Steph Curry. We seen it with well, I think John Morant lost in the round of 32, I believe, for Sweet 16. But just performances like that, or like Jack Golicki. Um Trying to think of who else. I don't know, it's just right player can be the playmaker and just pick a team apart or them just not knowing what to do with a team. More so recently, I would say Caitlin Clark was that kind of player for Iowa. Single handedly winning games for you, single handedly being the focal point, single handedly being the reason why a team is successful. So, yeah, I feel like Asia Demancey could be that for BYU, being that they're down Richie Saunders, and Asia Demancey being the prospect that he is as well. Gonzaga, I got them over Kennesaw State. Miami, I got over Missouri. Shout out to Jay Lucas and the job that he's done as a head coach in his first year. All right. Many people, I don't want to say many people were caught by surprise, but it's more so that shout out to him for being successful in his first year as head coach because it's not often we see a head coach have a great first year in the fashion that Jay Lucas has had. So yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Noah Smith as well. I believe he got coach at Tennessee State got them to the tournament. So yeah, Miami over Missouri, Purdue over Queens. I don't think Queens College can upset Purdue, but I would not be surprised. Moving on to the Midwest. Got Michigan against Howard. Howard beating UMBC last night in the playing game. Got Georgia against St. Louis. I got Georgia. Texas Tech against Akron. I don't see Akron beating Texas Tech. I don't think I see a 5-12 upset this year. I would be surprised. Well, that's why they call them upsets. But leading to my next pick, got Hofstra over Alabama. Don't know why. Don't ask me why. I'm just trying to pick the upsets. They're going to be without Aiden Holloway for obvious reasons. If you don't know, simple Google search. Tennessee, I got them over the winner of Miami over Ohio and SMU, which I would believe is tonight. You got Virginia over Wright State. Virginia's a tough team. Shout out Virginia. Got Kentucky over Santa Clara, and I got Iowa State over Tennessee State. So those are my round of 64 matchups predictions. Moving on to the round of 32, which will be a Saturday-Sunday slate. Duke over Ohio State. Got St. John's over Kansas, which I think will be down to the wire, I believe. That 5-4 matchup, these two programs, these two coaches, this is when it starts to heat up for real, in my opinion, right? Then you got Louisville against Michigan State. I feel like Louisville can battle with Michigan State, but I don't think it will be enough because I think they'll be without Michaela Brown still. So give me Michigan State over Louisville. Then I got UConn over UCLA. I don't think UConn's gonna play with their food. Simple as that. At least not in this first two rounds. Then in the South region, I got Florida over Iowa, Vanderbilt over Nebraska, Illinois over VCU, Houston over Texas A&M. West region, I got Arizona over Villanova, got Arkansas over Wisconsin, BYU over Gonzaga. Be considered upset due to seeding, but I think AJ knows it's all on him. I think he knows it's all on him, and he'll play as such. So he'll put BYU on his back in a good performance, and that's really what makes these games fun because all eyes are on you, right? The stakes are heightened. Not only are you playing to further advance yourself, but you're playing for your draft stock as well. We've seen players draft stock tank. We've seen players draft stock rise. A guy like Colin Knuppel is a guy that I like to bring up often as far as like this current draft class is. And how every single game I watched Colin Knuppel play last season at Duke, the kid got better. And as he got better, his draft stock got better. Right? Then you got Miami and Purdue. Purdue moving on, I believe. All right, Midwest, you have Michigan against Georgia, Texas Tech against Hofstra. Well, my fault. Michigan advancing over Georgia, Texas Tech advancing over Hofstra, Virginia over Tennessee, and then I got Iowa State beating Kentucky. Right. I will go on and go through the rest of my bracket, but I do want to talk about players to watch this weekend. Right. So I mentioned, Duke advancing and playing well. I mentioned St. John's advancing and playing well. I mentioned, I don't even want to call it a Cinderella run, but this would be the lowest seed I have going to the Sweet 16 in BYU due to AJ DeBouncer. And then everything else is kind of regular after that. It's hard to pick a Cinderella. A Cinderella just doesn't, you don't look at the field of 64 or the field of 68, I should say. You don't look at the round of 64 matchups and be like, maybe Texas A&M is going to be the Cinderella. I mean, hey, maybe, I mean, when I go to do predictions, I think scenarios, right? Like, all right, this is the scenario I want to play out. This is me controlling. Like, if I had say so in control of the script of the 2026 March Madness tournament, this is how things would go, right? So, with that being in mind, I only make one bracket. I only made one bracket. I don't know. I might duplicate the bracket to enter it in a couple. I don't know how many bracket competitions or bracket groups can I put one bracket in? You can find that out by noon tomorrow. But making multiple brackets, I feel like that's childish. I feel like it's a little childish. I'm a grown man now. I'm making one bracket. I'm sticking to it. My bracket gets busted. My bracket gets busted. Oh well. Then I don't even say that's childish, because when I was a child, filling out paper brackets before these apps, before these cell phones, it's one bracket. Now I know in college, I know we had a bracket competition in our dorm. I did pretty good in that, but yeah, just be different brackets, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, players to watch out for in this first weekend. AJ DeBouncer at BYU, obviously. There's Acuff Jr., who averaged 30 points in the SEC tournament on the way to the SEC championship. I mean, hey, this kid is one of the best guards John Calipari has had in his coaching career. And this man has coached guys like John Wall, Derrick Rose, Devin Booker, Harrison Twins, Malik Monk. I'm just naming guys at this point. De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I already named the big guards that he's. Oh, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. How could I forget? Darius Acuff Jr. is in the conversation with those guys, right? It's gonna be a lottery pick, top 5 pick probably. GMs would be dumb to let him get past the top 8, if we're being real. This kid's motor, this kid's skill, what he's been able to do for Arkansas this season, it's been remarkable to watch. Man, I'm just really looking forward to see what he does in this tournament, and I hope that Arkansas has a deep run with him at the forefront. Malik Thomas is another guy to watch out for as well. Bro will say it. I remember the overtime. He's an overtime elite guy, so I remember there's a clip of him talking trash. And somebody was like, "Man, you a fake 4-star." He's like, "You right. I got 5." Woo, man. Shout out Cam Boozer as well, leading the forefront for Duke. But other players to watch as far as like Duke goes. Duke is going to be without Caleb Foster yet again. But they're going to be without Caleb Foster. Pat might be coming back. Who knows? Could be coming back. But shout out to Isaiah Evans, who steps up in big games. And I believe can step up multiple times during the tournament to give Duke what they need to proceed. Who else is there? Dame Sarr is another guy for Duke to watch out for. Shout out to Caden Boozer for his performance in the ACC tournament championship game. Twin wasn't hitting, so other twin stepped up, right place, right time, made good shots, made good plays, played good defense, played Duke brand of basketball, right? Shout out to Zuby Ejiofor as well, the leader, the heartbeat for the St. John Red Storm. Really a focal point and really a key part of their reemergence in college basketball, right? The guy for the last 2 seasons has been a leader, been at the forefront of their success. So shout out to Zoob. And really, I'm really looking forward to see what other stars emerge during this time of this opening weekend, right? I think that's the thing that many basketball fans look for. We see what happens the first weekend, and then it's like we kind of cling on to, all right, yeah, how long is this player going to keep doing this? How long is this player going to keep? Like, who's going to be our DJ Burns this year? Who knows? But yeah, all right, let's get into the rest of my bracket, right? So I went through the round of 64, went through the round of 32, Sweet 16 matchups. So Duke and St. John's, this is a game. All right. I don't say this is a trap game for Duke or would be a trap game for Duke, but it very well could be. I think Duke will be tested once they get to St. John's because their 2 opponents before this would be Siena and Ohio State. So they're seeing a conference champion in St. John's who took care of business in both regular season and in the conference tournament. As I mentioned, they were down 2 starters. So who's to say that? I think I'll believe Pat will be back by this time, right? Caleb Foster, I don't think is coming back in this tournament with a fractured foot. So yeah, Duke will probably have their hands tied with Zuby Ejiofor and others. But I do think they got what it takes to proceed to the Elite Eight. Then you got Michigan State against UConn. I feel like this is where UConn crumbles. It's going off a gut. Then you got Florida against Vanderbilt. Florida wins that. Houston against Illinois. Man, oh man. That's going to be a good game. I got Houston advancing. Arizona against Arkansas. I got Arkansas winning this game because of the man that I mentioned earlier in Darius A-Cup Jr. He's that much of a difference maker. And I feel like, hey, these are win or go home situations, right? You mean to tell me when they go in situation, there's A Cup Jr. could have himself hell of a game and hell of a performance, and this would be the first one seed I see going down in Arizona at the hands of Darius A Cup Jr. Staying on track or staying on the theme of upsets, got BYU beating Purdue. Age advancing masterclass. No further notes than that. Michigan State over Texas. No, not Michigan State. Michigan over Texas Tech. And I got Iowa State over Virginia. Then to the Elite Eight, Duke over Michigan State. Houston beats Florida. So I'd be a 1-2 in the Final Four. And then I'll say battle of the one-man. I don't want to say one-man bands because Arkansas has a good team. But of the freshman phenoms, I would say Arkansas wins. I think this is where AJ DeMance's run ends. And I don't want to say caps off, but what AJ DeMance has done this season, he's already has had one of the best freshman seasons we've seen in college basketball history, right? His name is up there scoring wise with KD and Michael Beasley. I just think we'll see more in this tournament. But it's only but so far he can take his team. Then I got Michigan against Iowa State. Michigan, pretty well-rounded team. I think they go far in the tournament. Then you got Final Four, Duke versus Houston. I got Duke getting to get back on Houston from last year. And I got Michigan taking care of business against Arkansas, which leaves Duke and Michigan. A rematch of sorts from their non-conference matchup that we saw earlier this season in DC. But Duke is in Indianapolis once again. And those that know something about Duke's 5 championships, 2 of them have happened in Indianapolis. I want to say the most recent one happened in Indianapolis. Let me see. NCAA Final Four 2015 was in yep, Indianapolis. Okay, then so we're at all right. So Duke wins it all. This is an honest that's what I'm looking for. This is an honest prediction and not just my phantom talking. All right. Moving over to the women's tournament because I want to talk about my picks for that as well. Lower hard gauged. Wasn't really super locked in on women's, but still as locked in as the hoop fan that I am. UConn got them advancing. I don't know. I don't know if I should go through every matchup. I guess because I get really routine until I get to Sweet 16. All right. I'll just talk about my Sweet 16 matchups. I don't really see any big upsets happening in the first 2 rounds. Like I mentioned, Duke will be playing against College Charleston. I love my alma mater. I love my school. But I'll be real. I'm rooting for a good game. Every time every time College Charleston makes a bucket, I'll be cheering. Oh, this game is at 11:30 on Friday. Lordy. All right. But yeah. Yeah, I think Duke take care of his business at the crib. ACC champs up against the CAA champs. All right. Now I do have Tennessee beating North Carolina. Why do I don't know why I have that. Let's change that. Yeah, North Carolina State over Tennessee. We got to put an upset somewhere in the mix. All right, so Miami of Ohio women and men's team for making it to the tournament. Yeah, everything was pretty routine until we get to the Sweet 16. Sweet 16 is when things kind of shake up, mix up a little bit. The matchups are heightened, right? You got UConn against North Carolina. UConn advancing. UConn the best team in the nation. Got Vanderbilt against Ohio State. Vanderbilt advancing. Shout out Michaela Blakes. Michaela Blakes is one of those players who could lead a team on a run by herself on her own. You got South Carolina against Oklahoma. That'd be a good matchup. You got TCU against Iowa. I think TCU beats Iowa in the Sweet 16. UCLA against Ole Miss. UCLA advances. I got Duke beating LSU. Simply because I don't think LSU is battle tested enough. Outside of playing in the SEC, which they always fall short to South Carolina, now to Texas. I'm not a believer in LSU. Kim Mulkey sets them up for failure year by year. I'm not a believer. Make me a believer. Shout out to Flaw J, but anyways, Texas got them over Kentucky and got Michigan over Louisville. So the lead eight would be got UConn over Vanderbilt, got South Carolina over TCU, got UCLA over Duke. I got Texas over Michigan. Now I feel like Texas and Michigan go either way, but I think Texas and their experience that they have on their squad push past Michigan. Then you got UConn, South Carolina, ooey, and you got UCLA against Texas. Matchups, man. I do think UConn beat South Carolina. AZ Floods last season. Sarah Strong, she wants more. And they already know what they're kind of up against with South Carolina or just in general being the number one team in the nation. As Tariq mentioned yesterday on our show, him being a routine UConn guy, that they want one without Page. They want to prove that they can get it done without Page. And I believe that they can. I believe that AZ Flood was a big part of why they won last year. And for her to get two in a row, that'll say a lot. That'll stamp her up there with the UConn great. She got one. But can she get another one as the leader of this team? Right. Then you got UCLA. I think UCLA, I feel like they wanted more. Right. Lauren Betts has gotten close time after time again. Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice, like they gonna want them a chip before they leave out of LA. Now, will they get it? I don't think so. I got UConn winning it all, cutting down the nets. UConn over UCLA in the championship. Now, like I mentioned, this is where stars are made in the tournament. So I'll be back obviously next week to talk about who's emerged as a star, who's emerging as a star, who's becoming a household name. Because this is when you got everybody's attention. This is when it happens, right? The lights are the brightest. I turn my light up. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but the lights are the brightest. You're on the big stage. You on ESPN. You on the Turner Sports, family and networks. This is where it's happened, right? This is what everybody tunes into. This is what everybody's waiting for. This is what everybody plays for to get to this point. What you gonna do when the light shine the brightest on you? So I'm looking forward to seeing what madness happens these next couple of weeks. Oh boy, we got 3 weeks of fun. Or is it 4? We got this weekend, 64-32. Next weekend is week 16. And yeah, next 3 weeks. Next 3 weeks gonna be full of fun, full of madness, full of chaos, full of drama, full of moments, full of basketball. And I am ready for it all. All right, moving on to the WNBA. The WNBA and the WNBPA reached an agreement in the wee hours of Wednesday morning today. Shout out to Annie Costable. I don't know if it Costabile or Costable, but shout out Annie. She is a writer for the Chicago Times. Oh, previously WNBA at the Chicago Times. All right, Women's Sports for Front Office Sports. So shout out to her. She who broke the news that while the term sheet is still being finalized, I've been told the new CBA is a 7-year deal with an opt out after the 6. That and more on the that's the article she wrote. But she was the one that broke the news last night. That breaking. The WNBA and WNBPA have reached a tentative verbal agreement for a new CBA, sources tell me. Term sheet will now go to the players and the WNBA Board of Governors for a vote to ratify the new agreement. And then, while the term sheet is still being finalized, I've been told the new CBA is a 7-year deal with an opt-out after the 6th. That and more. Let's click on this article. Y'all getting a lot of reading from me today. Both sides are still formalizing a term sheet. Multiple sources told Front Office Sports it is a 7-year deal with an opt-out after the 6th year. The salary cap will start at $7 million in year 1, according to the same sources, with 20% of the cap designated for the Supermax contract, which equates roughly to $1.4 million. The average before revenue share payments are factored in will be about $584,000. The average revenue share is roughly 20% across the life of the deal, sources said. Additionally, the core designation will see slight changes beginning in 2027. A player can only be cored who has 6 or fewer years of service, according to sources. Core is kind of like being, I don't say not franchise tag, but like kind of being like a restricted free agent. Yeah, kind of like like we got the rights to like we can kind of match whatever contracts you're being offered. This, down the third. I knew something was going to shape with this whole CBA because fee got involved like last week, because last week was the deadline for a new agreement to happen before it started to affect the timeline of the 2026 season, right? Fee gets involved. They're having meetings for 12 hours at a time. 12-hour days, 14-hour days of meetings, right? Keep in mind, we got the first alert, I want to say after 1 a.m. last night. So there's a lot to have been said, or they worked through a lot. They got in there and worked out a deal. So there's a quote. So, all right, the full terms of the deal are expected to be finalized in the coming days, which will be followed by an official voting process. The term sheet will be voted on by players and then the WNBA Board of Governors before it becomes fully ratified. Once both sides sign off, the term sheet is formally executed, becoming a new CBA governing the league. The progress made in these discussions marks a transformative step forward for players in the league, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said from the Langham Hotel shortly before 3 a.m. Eastern. It's underscoring a shared commitment to the continued growth of the game. All right. Engelbert said the 30th season is not subject to delays following Wednesday's verbal agreement. Training camp is scheduled to open on April 19th, but before it can, the league must conduct an expansion draft, free agency, and the collegiate draft. So it's gonna be a lot of shakeup in the league, right? They put out a list, and I'm not gonna read this full list because this full list is ridiculous. But where is it? But players scheduled to become unrestricted free agents this month, which is basically the whole league, right? Whole league outside of those on rookie deals. It's free agents this month. I mean this year. Age Wilson, who already signed the Supermax, making history again. This is Age Wilson's league. We just living in it, playing in it, watching it, right? Signed the super, not signed, but Adrian Wilson expected to sign a new $1.4 million contract with the Aces as soon as possible, as reported by Katie Finn. Then you got Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, Fee, Jewel Lloyd, Kalia Copper, Erika Gumawale, Jackie Young, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Gabby Williams, Emma Meesman, Satu Sabli, Alyssa Thomas, Natasha Howard, you got Brittany Griner, Bree Jones, Skylar Diggins Smith, Marina Mabry, Kayla McBride. This is a list. I'm not reading this whole list, but I'm about to read just notable names now. Dejanay Carrington, Ayo Atkins, Natasha Cloud, Chelsea Gray, Neko Gumke, Azrae Stevens, John Claude Jones, Brittany Sykes, Alicia Clark, Courtney Vandersloot, Benaja Laney Hamilton, who missed last season due to injury, Courtney Williams, Studbud, Sneffy Dawson, Tina Charles, legend, Alicia Gray, she probably getting a bag. You got Letitia Heidemann, other Studbud, Ray Burrell. You got okay, those are like the most notable names I'm seeing on this list. Kayla Thornton. I want to see how or if she stays around with, not San Francisco. Golden State. I was like, why did I blank on this now? Golden State Valkyrie, right? Um, but yeah, they have 2 expansion drafts to go, a free agency as well. So the shakeup in the league would be crazy. But shouts out to the WNBA for getting this done because now that sets. This is yet another CBA that has been a transformer CBA. And the last CBA that they had before this, was there and gave them the right to have maternal leave and gave them different player protections and just protections as women, right? Things that they were fighting for. And while things aren't really perfect, but this is a step in the right direction, a major step in the right direction for this league and really reflective of the growth of this league, right? So understanding that as a business, the WNBA was operating a deficit, so it's not really like the owners were stingy or the organization was stingy. It's more so, hey, we need, like they said, we need to run a sustainable model. That was the main thing going into this whole not conversation, into these negotiations, right? So I'm glad that both sides were able to come to an agreement, and I'm glad that I can lock in on women's hoops for yet another summer. Because I'm gonna say I was finding different replacements. I mean, I did entertain a little bit of baseball talk, but hey, glad I can keep my focus on hoops for the most part. So but yeah, this is gonna set the standard for the future of the game. As we know, we got stars that are in this league now, and the future stars, like, well, I don't want to say future stars because these girls are already stars. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, You got Cam Brink, you got Paige Beckers, got Rakia Jackson, you got Ryan Howard, who are going to be the future of this league, and they're going to be ones reaping the benefits of the ones before them, the ones that set the um, not set the tone, but pave the way for them to earn what they're supposed to be earning. And as this league continues to grow, this is a young league. This league is 30 years old, right? Whereas other leagues that have been more established, like the NBA and NFL, that have been around for 70 plus years, NFL 100 plus years at this point, um, it took them a while to get to the point where they are, right? So it's a matter of continuing to have the energy behind the players, continue having support behind the players, and for the players to continue to play at the high level that they're playing at, right? So yeah, this opens up a lot, and I hope that in 7 years, whenever it's time for another CBA, they make it to where it's yet another transformative CBA, and just continue to fight the fight, man. The players really stood tall through it all. They didn't let up, um, and they showed that they were the ones that had the ultimate power in the end. Like, we are coming to see the players. The players are the ones driving revenue. The players are the ones whose jersey we're buying. The players are the ones that we're tuning into. The players are the ones that are out there giving these organizations the success that they have, whether that's on a monetary level or that's on a competitive level, right? So I'm looking forward to see how this season shapes out for the WNBA for plenty of reasons. Last season was a good one because a lot of people thought, hey, what if there's a lockout and we don't get a WNBA season? Asia Wilson ball like there was not gonna be a WNBA season last year, right? And seeing how she brought the Aces from the gutter to win her last championship, but now we got Nafisa Corey coming back, ready for smoke, ready for blood. Coming back off her injury, she missed rival season. I would suspect that she stays in Minnesota. Minnesota would be dumb to let her leave. Um, I feel like the top dogs gonna get paid, right? Like everybody gonna get that super max. Every team is gonna have that one super max player, and then you're gonna have the players that follow. Now, the one situation I'm thinking about of who's gonna be worthy or who's gonna be getting the super max is the sister team to the team you see in my head, the New York Liberty. You got Sabrina Ionescu, who was a rising star in this league, and you have I don't know why I'm talking about Brianna Stewart like she's a vet. I mean, she is a vet. Don't get me wrong, but she's only 31. Still at the top of her game. Won MVP very recently. If I'm Clara Sai, I don't know who I'm giving that max to. I would think Stewie would get it because of seniority and because of I would say Stewie is a tier above Sabrina Ionescu, right? As far as Brianna Stewart still being one of the top players in this league versus Brianna Stewart being one of the top overall players in the league, Sabrina Ionescu is one of the top players in her position. I would say I could say Sabrina is I don't want to say French top 10, but I would say she's a top 10 player in this league. Let's see. Asia Stewie Fee. Then you got yeah, Sabrina's a top 5 to 10 player in this league. I'm tripping. OD. So, but I expect both of them to be compensated well, especially because I know the Side family are not afraid to open up that checkbook. We've seen it before the CBA, before Stewie was even on the team. Had them girls flying charter flights to the point where they almost got the team taken away from them. So I know Vegas gonna do well by their players. I know New York is gonna do well. Well, not yeah. I was about to call them Brooklyn. No, New York's gonna do well by their players. And it's just a matter of other teams and other organizations. Um, that's really why I'm looking forward to free agency, to seeing how this plays out over the next couple weeks, right? Trying to think of. I think I saw a video talking about the timeline for the W as far as their draft goes. All right, so between April 1st and 6th, Lord, these young collegiate students will not be getting a break once again. And see, that's another thing I thought about, right? Like I thought, hey, maybe with them being in a lockout or fixing getting things together, maybe for once the players can get a break before heading go from playing college ball or finishing their collegiate careers to starting their WNBA careers. There's really no pause in between, you know. The men are afforded the luxury of having a true off season and having a pre-draft process and playing in the summer league. Whereas the woman is like, hey, pack your bags. You just got drafted by Dallas. You need to be there tomorrow while still finishing up their senior classes and having to graduate. So, yeah, between April 1st and April 6th, teams will go through the entire expansion draft process, including submitting protected player lists and the draft itself. Qualifying offers will go out April 7th through 8th, followed by a negotiation period from April 9th to 11th. The signing period would be April 12th through the 18th, and the collegiate draft will be held on April 13th in New York City. So national championship game would be April 7th. No, April 5th, Eastern. National championship game would be April 5th. They'll be getting drafted a week later. That's the WNBA for you, man. That is the WNBA for you. But nevertheless, I'm definitely looking forward to all the good basketball that we're about to receive in the next couple of weeks between March Madness and on the men's and the women's side, right? If you're a mid-major junkie, you got the NIT as well. And what? I don't think they're doing the CBI, but I think they're doing the Crown tournament again. So it's gonna be a lot of hoops on these next couple of weeks. Shout out to the U.S. women's national team for taking care of business in the World Cup qualifying games. A nice peek of the future that we have with Paige, Caitlin, and Angel Reese. I saw something over there where I saw a tweet where it's like it's funny that both sides are. I don't say beefing. No, I think it was like it's funny because they're perfect teammates. And yo, the 1-2 punch with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on the same team. Man, Angel Reese is still very raw as a player, and I think she has developed her game and is going to continue to develop her game in year 3. I feel like once she gets to having a structure or having like a set game and having I hate using the word bag in a sense, right? But she improves her offensive game, gets some good footwork, and becomes a force that we all know she has the potential to be. It's gonna be scary for the league, right? Like she's playing in a league where the best players are playing her position. So she got to go up against Asia Wilson a couple times out of the year. Got to go up against Brianna Stewart a couple times of the year. Got to go up against Nafisa Collier. Got to go up against Tina Charles. Got to go up against Brittany Griner. Got to go up against all these great bigs. Some are who are all time at their position or all time in the WNBA. Like I mentioned, the WNBA is a young league still, but these are still top of the top, right? I just hope Chicago could. I don't say continues, but I hope Chicago does right by her. Because I was talking about this earlier. just Chicago as an organization, how they ran themselves as an organization has been laughable, right? They fired Teresa Witherspoon after 1 year. James Wade left in the middle of the season the year before that, right? For the Toronto Raptors. I feel like this got to be a season where the Chicago Sky are games away from the playoffs or in the play. No, not games away from playoffs. They got to make the playoffs this year, right? Like really. Or I could see Angel on her way out, one or more. She's a very marketable player. She's a very talented player, or potential to be a very talented player, right? Like the potential is there. We all saw it. We all see it. It's just things have to be placed perfect. I don't say placed perfectly, but improvements have to happen, right? On both sides. But yeah, it was good to see them compete this past week in the qualifying games and really just take care of business. Like the US is really doing it in all sports, except for baseball. They let me down last night, but basketball, take care of business. Hockey, took care of business. And I'll leave on this note. It's something about seeing players play in their leagues versus when they play in international play and playing for the pride or playing with the pride of their country and having that fuel them through these games, and you can see it, you can feel it. It just makes the atmosphere, it makes the magnitude of these games much more much more. So seeing different forces come together, be a big force, that symbol like what is it, Voltron? I don't know what the um what the Power Rangers thing is called, but seeing our nation's best come together to compete is very unique. I love the pride that comes with it, and I love how meaningful the competition is because you can see it. So once again, shout out to the women's national team for taking care of business and going 5-0 in the qualifying games, I believe. Taking care of business in the qualifying games for the FIBA World Cup. And this is before everybody else gets there, right? So AJ ain't even there yet. Stewie ain't even there yet. Like this is just a team that qualified to play. We sent our little homies. They had our light work. What the Nike commercial said, everybody competes or prepares every 4 years for second place. They're just simply not like us, the US. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to everybody playing hard this weekend, both of the men's and women's tournaments. I'll be locked into a lot of the games. Don't call my phone for nothing. If you know me, ask yourself, is it gonna can this be a text? Because if it is, text me. Don't call because I'll be locked on these games. All right. But as always, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Bryce and Nicest. As I say, stand for something or fall for anything. And till next week, y'all be smooth.